An office romance blooms between a coworker and her boss. But the catch is, her boss is already married. Where do you take the affair from there, and how far can you go? This is a story of a standalone Yuri manga called I Love You So Much, I Hate You, a little spicy office drama that ends up being rather wholesome. Hey guys, it's Ike, and welcome back to another edition of Bad Ramblings, the series where I ramble on badly. So I got this manga back in late October 2020, and it became one of my favorite reads of that year in terms of a standalone manga, and I had been planning on making a video of this for months now. In terms of first impressions and a spoiler-free review, I thought that this was a rather perfect package in the fact that it gave you the necessary information to fill you in on what is happening with these characters, what is going on with the manga, without having to add any extra information or any unnecessary details. It had the right amount of scandalous, but it wasn't too heavy on the drama, which could be an issue for some folks because, I'll be honest, when I first saw the cover, I read the synopsis, and of course the title, I Love You So Much, I Hate You, I had expected more drama to be happening in this manga, but like I said, it ended up being rather wholesome to me at least, and it was a pleasant surprise because despite me saying that I want drama, there's that part inside of me that really doesn't want drama and just want a more happy story, that sort of thing, because when drama is done poorly, it is a really frustrating experience. At a glance, the art reminded me of Kano's, the creator of Kiss and White Lily for My Dearest Girl, which just so happens to be a long title, just like I Love You So Much, I Hate You. What's with these stories and having a mouthful of a title? And yes, there is a good amount of smut in this manga. The two main characters, Sari Fujimura and Ayako Asano, are two very likable characters, and along with the rest of their team, they act like reasonable adults. Question mark? I liked that in the beginning it gave you a fair amount of information on these two main characters, a little bit of their backstory, the reason why they are who they are, and how they got into the affair in the first place. I like that they kind of give you all of that information before they get the ball rolling. And not gonna lie, I got a little teary towards the end. I almost forgot to talk about the guys, the three guys who work in the same team as Fujimura and Asano. Just wanted to put out a highlight saying that they are cool dudes, because I feel like in Yuri manga, guys are either non-existent, or they're an asshole, or they're just there to impede on the romance and create some fucking drama. Not to say that this Yuri doesn't have an asshole of a guy. In terms of nitpicking and some minor issues, the first one I kind of already mentioned, which is the title of this manga. I don't know where the I hate you part really comes in, I'll be honest. I feel like this title was just really here to clickbait me, and they got me, but again, it was a pleasant surprise when I saw it, so again, it's still a enjoyable manga for me. And the other thing was that during my second read-through of this, I realized how many ellipses there are. This manga is literally ellipses heaven. In spite of the secret we share, ellipses, you always go back home to your husband. I envy him, ellipses, so much, ellipses. There are so many dots happening in this manga, and I wonder if, is that really added for like the whole drama aspect? Because it was just really weird. I just felt like everybody was talking with a little bit of delay in their conversation because there's just ellipses everywhere. sometimes a double ellipses would happen too. But in the end, this is a manga I recommend, and before I head into the spoiler arena, I actually did do a full read-through of this manga, and you can check it out in my Patreon page. You will need the original source or just the manga. I don't care where you procured your manga, but as long as you have the source, you can follow along with me on my read-through. And even if it was just my second read-through, I still had a very fun time. And if you want to read the manga with me, feel free to do so, again, in my Patreon page, and it is for free. So if you haven't read the manga yet, I recommend you do before heading into the spoiler arena, but if you don't care, then let us get started. I'm going down into the spoiler arena. I don't know why is it in a cellar? Hello, welcome to the spoiler arena. If this was wine, I'd be swishing it. So in this first chapter, it is fairly simple. It gives us the introduction of our two main characters, Fujimura and Asano, whose name I will now be switching between Ayako and Asano because for some reason they use both names for her, but for Fujimura, it's just Fujimura across the whole way. I think they've said sorry once, and that's about it. Like, even towards the end of the manga, and 6 months had passed after the last chapter, Ayako still calls her Fujimura, so I'm just like, okay, nobody is ever going to call her by her first name, so I guess I won't call her Saori either. So yeah, first chapter introduces you to the two main characters and their affair. You get to see their interaction, which are very cute. I can't explain to you guys how much I love these two, and I just want them to have a good, happy life, and also, I want more of them, alright? Damn you, Yuri! Give me more of these two! Give me them right now! Just inject them straight into my veins. But anyways, yeah, that was chapter 1. Very enjoyable. And we head into chapter 2, which is the chapter for Fujimura, because we get more information on her, especially of basically of just her sexuality and her one-sided love of all these girls that she fell in love with, but they all end up with another man, because how dare they be straight in this Yuri manga? How dare they, those fuckers? It also shows the first time she and Ayako end up having schmecks for the first time in the beginning of their affair. This was when Fujimura was crowded with work and Ayako ends up helping her out. They go out for drinks after that, and Fujimura said, I don't know whether it's because she's being so nice, but she feels like she's able to say things that she really shouldn't say, which was, I love you, Ayako, or I love you, Chief. And it was Fujimura who ended up initiating this, you know? She's like, look, man, I'll make you feel good. Come on, let's go. Let's go, girl. So, she doesn't know why Ayako even accepted her offer for this in the first place, but they did it. It was great time, you know? And she expected, well, she doesn't really know what Ayako was going to do the next day after this. She thought initially that Ayako was just going to pretend that this never really existed. Despite it was Fujimura who initiated this, it was Ayako who continues this relationship, as she says to Fujimura, like, hey man, if you ever wanna go out for some more schmecks, look man, we can do that. In another scene, we are introduced to Fujimura's friend, Suzuki, who started the same time as her, but Fujimura basically moved to a new department, so they're both working in separate departments now, and Suzuki's out here like, so, how's your sex life? And Fujimura, understandably, can't just say that she's sleeping with her boss, says that she's in a one-sided love affair, and Suzuki's like, wow, me too, I'm kind of in the same situation, but like, let's talk about this over drinks, alright? And she just hurriedly packed all her stuff down and just got out of there, man. She got the zoomies and she just ran out the moment she heard that. She's like, oh shit, man, we can talk about this later, but over drinks. And hopefully, you know, in a more private space where nobody else can hear you. Then we head over to chapter 3, which now focuses on Ayako. At this point, you're kind of like, what's up with Ayako, Why is she cheating on her husband like this? And then chapter 3 hits in the first page. You see her phone going in, and it's her husband, whose name is Yusuke, saying, "Going out for drinks, don't wait up for me." And in a very black box, "My husband is cheating on me." So yeah, the first page of this chapter pretty much tells you everything you need to know about this affair. And in terms of affair, I feel like if the guy is a good guy, it would make you feel really bad for this affair, having to read through it, and it just doesn't give you a really good feeling overall, and it makes you kind of hate the main characters, because like, yo, what the fuck, why you gotta do this? But if you make it to the point where maybe they have a failed marriage and the love is not really there anymore, then, the main characters would still kind of be scumbaggy, but at least you sort of kind of have an understanding, they've been loveless for a while, and suddenly they find this new love, and you just hope that they don't continue with this affair and just, break up with the other person before shit gets wild. But no, this manga is like,
her husband is cheating on her. Yeah, that's why she's having the affair.
And I'm not saying that just because her husband cheated on her makes it agreeable or makes it good that she's also having an affair, just two people having an affair with different people. But it lets you know the reason why Ayako accepted Fujimura's offer for schmecks in the first place. It was just pettiness towards the end. She just wanted to have a little revenge on her husband cheating on her by cheating on somebody else. Or cheating with somebody else, whatever. We get a little bit of backstory for Ayako, which really could sums up to, society sucks, man. It just feels like society is forcing her to be in a position that she doesn't really want to be, to be married and potentially even having kids. It's something that she might not want to do, but this is what she feels like could make her happy. And since she feels restrained by everybody, she looks at Fujimura as this person who is free to be able to have this relationship that they're having without, I wouldn't say consequences, but without having to worry about the future. We have more interactions between Fujimura and Ayako, and we have this part where Fujimura is like, why don't you just break up with your husband? Why don't you just get a divorce? Or such things like that. But Ayako's argument with that is, you can't have a baby alone. Which, again, damn you society. Just you wait until science babies are a thing. Just you wait, Ayako. After that scene, we were back in the office and Fujimura overhears Ayako talking about her husband because this other coworker is getting married, so she's asking advice and shit with Ayako. And just hearing Ayako talking positively about her husband, Fujimura's like, how dare you? You were talking shit about him in the previous night. How dare you talk nice about him? I am jealous. So she takes Ayako to a separate room to tell her about that, and Ayako herself says, well, what's the point of telling people the truth? It's better if people just think that I have a good relationship with my husband. In this chapter, you can just tell that Ayako is very afraid of losing face. She's afraid of losing that perfect image that she has built for herself. She's the manager of her department, so she gotta stay strong and be dependable for her peers. They do have a rule to not touch each other when they're at work, but despite Ayako saying that to Fujimura, she sees how jealous that Ayako can be and ends up breaking that rule anyways. Despite saying it, she gives Fujimura a little smooch on the lips for that, and she ends up leaving to go put on more of her lipstick. And during that scene, she thinks about why she ended up doing that. She thought that they were just playing lovers, thought this was just a whole fun affair thing. And she looks to herself thinking, yeah, I'm not gonna fall in love with Fujimura. That's never gonna happen. we all know that it's going to happen. I forgot to mention that in this chapter we do see a little bit of Ayako's husband. His name is Yusuke, and he is scum! How dare he not wash the dishes for her? How dare he says that she's gonna quit her job once she has a child, because raising a child and working at the same time is so much hard work, to which, like, if that's the case, why don't you also quit your fucking job, because you're gonna have to take care of that child too, Yusuke, you little fucker. What are you gonna do, just work all day and never take care of your child? Because according to you, taking care of a child and working is hard, it's too much work. Anyways, I need to stop. That's it. I'm gonna start talking shit about him this whole time now. Anyways, with the chapter ending with Ayako thinking about, falling in love with Fujimura, that's never gonna happen. Chapter 4 hits, and suddenly she's out here on a fucking a business trip with Fujimura, so she's gonna spend the night with Fujimura, which is something they haven't really done because Ayako always end up leaving and going back to her husband every time they end up having the schmecks. And during that whole business trip, they end up going on a date, and as they go back to their hotel room, they're about to just go into their separate ways or their separate rooms. But it was Ayako who initiates this and say, hey, how about you spend the night in my bedroom instead? To which... oh, wait, no, never mind. I was supposed to say, to which if you guys were going to spend the night, why didn't you just get the same bedroom? But I forgot. Business trip. So the both of them prepare for their schmecks, and I always find one of the things that's funny is that when they talk about cutting their nails, or when they talk about cut nails before a whole schmecks, because Fujimura is like, whoa, I can't believe Ayako actually asked me out to go sleep with her. It's a good thing I cut my nails today. Hey, I wonder what Ayako's doing right now. It goes to Ayako, and it's her cutting her nails. Oh shit, dude, you know some shit's about to happen. So during the schmecks, Ayako volunteers to go down on Fujimura instead, because it's usually always just Fujimura making Ayako feel good. What's up, Ayako? I thought you said in the previous chapter that you were totally not into it at all. But after all these months, suddenly you want to eat her out? I see how it is. Fujimura is precious and needs to be protected, because after all these months, she felt like she's only been the one giving love to Ayako, which in a sense she felt like that she would have been okay with. But now that Ayako is going down on her, this is like the first time she ever felt like somebody is giving that love she offers back. So she gets very teary about it. She gets emotional on this whole ideal, and it made her think that, yeah, she really isn't okay with having a one-sided relationship. And in a sense of them spending this night together, she feels like her feelings has finally been reciprocated. And now that they've spent a night together, maybe they're starting to look at their relationship a little bit differently. And after that scene, we get into this little rumor that is circulating around in the office of someone having a relationship with their manager. I'll be honest, when I first read this part, I was a little scared. I thought this is where the drama will amp up. And I was like, oh shit, dude, this is where shit hits the fan. I can't fucking believe it. And then, what do you know? In the next chapter, it wasn't even them in the first place. That drama part just dissipates because you find out this rumor is actually addressed to Suzuki. And we get a little flashback here and there of Suzuki saying that she also has a one-sided relationship. And here it is being fucking put on a spotlight and for everybody to gossip about, of her having a relationship with her manager. And of course, you know, you've got girls out here gossiping about like, oh, why would she even want to date this man? He's an old man. Maybe he's her sugar daddy. But before Fujimura and Ayako finds out about this rumor, their relationship has grown from just being a regular, not to say a regular affair, but just a relationship where they really just go out and end up having schmecks. Now they're actually going out on dates, going out to the sweet shop, going out to restaurants and just eating, although I guess that's what they kind of did before, but, you know, just more of like, you know, they're actually dating, that sort of thing. Except more of a closet relationship, and still the affair because Ayako's still married. And when Fujimura discovered this rumor and she overhears these girls gossiping about her friend Suzuki, she feels a little frustrated in hearing them gossiping about a situation that they don't even know about. They're out here being outside of what this relationship is, and they don't even know what's really going on. It's not like Suzuki might be here for the money or anything. Like, what if she is genuinely in love? What if the manager is taking advantage of that love that she has for him? Such and such, you know? Like, you don't know the details about it. But at that moment, Fujimura felt like her relationship with Ayako was at a new time high. She felt like their relationship was getting stronger, and again, she felt like Ayako was actually beginning to be interested in her and not just for the schmecks. So she was at an all-time high at that moment, but hearing this rumor, hearing these girls gossiping about Suzuki, she realizes that it doesn't matter how the relationship goes, because from an outside perspective, this is just a fucking scandal, and you can't really change people's mind about that, because when they just hear a coworker having a relationship with their manager, that's just exactly what it is. It's a scandal. It's just something for them to gossip about and not really care too much about the details. So that all-time high that Fujimura is feeling just goes straight down a cliff. and then we get more scenes with Ayako and her husband, Yusuke. Her mother-in-law calls her, but she obviously doesn't want to answer her phone, so she's like, Yusuke, your mom's calling, talk to her. And he's like, well, if she's calling your phone, then like obviously she wants to talk to you, so go talk to her. And during her conversation, it's just Ayako's mother-in-law talking about like, when are you guys having children? I saw the neighbor having their own children again, and I'm super jealous. I want my grandchild too. You're not getting any younger, you know, Ayako. Your body's not gonna be able to handle the birth, so you better give birth right now before your body gets too old. Give me some fucking grandchildren, Ayako. After that phone call, her husband ends up asking her for some schmecks, but she refuses him and gives him an excuse, which is she's on her period. And so he's like, okay, whatever. I tried. At that point, Ayako did end up feeling relieved, knowing that she had an excuse to not have sex with them. And we get a little bit more of her narration, which is just her saying that she's afraid to lose her status. She's afraid to lose face with these people around her, you know? She's afraid that if her relationship with Fujimura gets out, she might end up losing her job. She might end up losing the husband that she obviously doesn't really like as much anymore and who's also cheating on her. She will lose that reputation of her. And honestly, if their relationship gets found out, like, you're just gonna hear people gossiping, probably talking about like, oh, I feel so bad for her husband. Because they don't know that he's having an affair either, but that's how they're going to see it. So in chapter 6, we get to see Ayako's department having a party. We get to see, you know, more of the three guys, very cool dudes again. After that party, Ayako and Fujimura ends up leaving on their own. It had been around a month since they stopped having the schmecks, and Fujimura is kind of like, yo dog. Are we gonna do it or what? Despite the situation with Suzuki still ongoing, they end up having schmecks anyways. Fujimura has all of this tension or pent-up emotions build up inside her, and she expresses that through a hickey on Ayako's neck, and Ayako is very in fear of that, because she's like, yo, what the fuck? Why did you give me a hickey on my neck? What if my husband comes back like he did previously, where he just gets right behind her without her noticing? Like, what if he sees that she has a hickey? Because, like, she knows that he's cheating on her. But like, what if he finds out and he's gonna be like, oh, why are you cheating on me? And he might end up taking, I don't want to say credit, but you know, he might want to be the guy who ends up taking the initiative to be like, oh yeah, my wife is cheating on me, so I'm gonna be the uppity guy and break up with her, that sort of thing. Fucking Yusuke, man, what a scumbag. Ayako complains about the hickey to Fujimura, who then confronts Ayako about her husband, asking if she's been having sex with her husband recently. And you know, like, well, why should you worry about that? You haven't had sex with your husband in a while. And also, if you call yourself a couple, then are you really satisfied with him? Because why are you with me? And so that gets Ayako all riled up. And she, in my notes, expresses her envy for Fujimura's freedom and how she feels trapped in her situation. And so she tells Fujimura that she can't give what Fujimura wants from her, or she can't provide what Fujimura wants. And hearing that, well, it does feel like a rejection. So Fujimura ends up tearing about that, and Ayako, who sees that, obviously, ends up ending this relationship, saying that we shouldn't have never had this relationship in the first place. In chapter 7, we see that the relationship has grown cold because of fucking course. Fujimura feels like that whole relationship that they've had felt like it never really happened, because here they are back in the same place that they were before the affair. Although, except with Ayako acting a little bit more coldly, which is, I thought, a little bit weird, with Fujimura saying like, oh, Ayako's treating me like how she treats everybody else again. This whole affair felt like it hadn't really happened in the first place, but again, I just felt like Ayako was treating you a little bit more coldly than she did even before the affair happened. But with a grain of salt, we didn't really see too much of how their relationship were before the affair. Fujimura ends up inviting her friend Suzuki out to eat, so then they could talk basically about what the fuck happened, because Suzuki ended up quitting the work, which, you know, I suppose is very understandable. So she ends up quitting the work, and she talks about her relationship with this guy. When she first saw his wife, she felt like she had won, because, you know, this is just some old woman, and she's a young lady who's much more beautiful than his wife is. So perhaps now that the relationship is out and about, maybe her manager will finally break up with his wife and go with her. But in the end, he ends up staying with his wife and his children, and she's the one who gets the short end of the stick. And of course, Suzuki feels very slighted with him, considering that they've spent this relationship of theirs for 2 years, and now he just basically tossed her in the trash, and again, she gets the short end of the stick. In a sense, she didn't really regret the relationship, because she still felt like it was something that happened. It was still there. Having talked with Suzuki about it, it rejuvenizes Fujimura, who thinks about it, and she's like, yeah, you're right. This whole affair thing, it did happen, even if they've gone back to their previous situation of the before the affair, it was still something that had happened, and you can't just pretend that it didn't exist. And she just felt like she was being a little slumped at work, and how was that going to help with her manager, Ayako Asano? And so Fujimura gets out of her sadness bumps and puts 100% of herself into her work, and everybody could see how hard she's working, and, you know, they're kind of like, wow, she's been a great worker lately. And while Fujimura is having this, Ayako is thinking a little bit differently, because she feels like, oh wow, so you would have been fine with anybody else? You know, you're already over this? What about me? So she gets a little distracted by that, and you see Naruse giving her a little form, or giving her these pamphlets saying, talking about businessy business stuff. One of my favorite things is when we're always having like a business stuff, but we never talk about business stuff. And when we are talking about business stuff, the dialogue consists of business stuff. This is the business.
Well, what's your policy regarding the existing user's investment? Business.
And Ayako decides to take on that, despite Naruse saying that he could just submit it himself. She ends up taking this workload, but again, being distracted, she puts this into the done bin instead of the to-do bin, and because of that, we head into the next chapter where, because she did put in the work bin, in the done bin, she didn't submit these papers. And this is one of the first times she's ever made a mistake. This was basically one of her biggest fears, to be able to lose face and having to come to the situation where she brings down her team. And so she apologizes to the team and says that she will get this done by herself. To which Ishiyama comes in and being like, hey dude, we're a fucking team, so we're gonna get through this together. You've helped us a lot of the time, so it's finally our time to help you out. And I thought that was a really nice scene, you know? It's just, in this scene we get to see, again, Ayako's fear coming to life. But because she's done such a great job, she's been such a great manager to her team, all that good karma she's accumulated has come back to her, and with her team saying like, it's okay, everybody makes mistake, and we're gonna help you get through this. So I thought that was very, very nice. We got another scene with Ayako and her husband, Yusuke, and he ends up giving her a box cake, which I thought was really funny. He's like, all right, I came home, here you go, have a box of cake. I feel like eating sweets for some reason. Whew, I'm tired. Also, by the way, I'm gonna be going on a business trip this weekend, so like, see you later, bitch. And Ayako's like, I see how it is, so this fucking cake or this sweet box is a way to make up for him most likely going on a business trip with that girl he's cheating on. And when Ayako and her husband are in bed, he again tries to initiate having some schmecks with her, but she ends up refusing him again because in her mind, she thinks that he's probably just pushing his lust for that girl that he's cheating her on with, to have sex with her. To which I have to say, what a fucking scum, dude. You're gonna try be out here having schmecks? I think I said sex before. Oh shit, dude. Anyways, you're really out here gonna be saying that you're gonna have schmecks with these two women? How dare you, Yusuke, you fucking scum! So a day after that, Ayako and Fujimura goes to apologize to the guy that they were supposed to give the form to. And the guy is like, nah, it's okay, you know, everybody makes mistake, and I know how hard it is for a woman to be working in a manager position. I know it's tough on men, but like for a woman, must be extra tough. So after that, Fujimura ends up inviting her to dinner, but just dinner, you know, just dinner, no schmecks or anything. And so they go off to dinner, they have a really nice time, and Ayako thought about how much of a nice time she's having, really compared to her relationship with her husband at the current moment. She feels a lot more comfortable with Fujimura. And so because of that, she had a little bit too much to drink. They end up going back to Fujimura's place, and Ayako talks a lot about her feelings and how she feels like a failure to Fujimura. She opens up to Fujimura a lot, and this is, you know, in a way her she feels weak, and she expresses this weakness to Fujimura. Fujimura comforts her, saying, remember that thing you told me about how there will always be someone who knows how hard you work? Well, that's me. I know how hard you work. That sort of thing, you know, gave her a very nice comfort. So Ayako ends up falling asleep to that. Oh, well, she shed a few tears, but she ends up falling asleep to that. And when she wakes up, she finds that Fujimura is making herself a body pillow, being a body pillow for Ayano. That's a really weird thing to say, saying that Fujimura is making a body pillow, but she is the body pillow for Ayako as she sleeps away. And when she sees this, she has finally realized that after all this time, she is in love with Fujimura. It's just that she's been so clouded by her fear that she rejects this whole idea in the first place. But, you know, now that her fear came to life and things didn't really go as she expected, you know, she expected worse things to happen, but it didn't. And boom! Here we are, chapter 9, the final chapter. The relationship continues to go back up to them being very friendly with each other, but still no schmecks, because at this point, Fujimura is trying to give up her love for Ayako because again, the whole affair thing and then of what happened. So she's trying to get rid of that love for Ayako, and that if Ayako is happy, then she is also happy as well. But obviously we know that she's not exactly very happy with that whole ideal. So after work, Fujimura ends up leaving early and Ayako ends up catching up with her, but they have a little bit of an awkward conversation because they both didn't really know what else to talk about. But as Fujimura is giving her a little bit of a cold shoulder and saying that, well, you know, this is our separate ways. Your house is over there, mine's over here, so I'm gonna walk this way. And so while she's about to leave, Ayako yells out to Fujimura saying that she is finally getting a divorce with her husband. Oh shit, dude. Fuck you, Yusuke, you little scumbag. So yeah, she announces the divorce and confesses her love to Fujimura, and of course Fujimura reciprocates this love because she's been waiting all this fucking time, and just as she was about to give up, Ayako comes here and tells her that she loves her. This is a Christmas miracle, and they are close to Christmas during this time, so it really is a Christmas miracle, man. What a fucking great time overall, y'all. This was around the moment where I almost shed a tear. At this moment, I got a little bit teary, you know, just finally be able to see the both of them being in a relationship that isn't an affair. So it was great. And then we got that 6-month skip, and I suppose that they're both living with each other now. Fucking great shit. Of course, they're still keeping their relationship a secret, but it is a secret that they both share, so that is very nice. And yeah, that's basically the end of chapter 9. It's a fucking happy ending. Great times for everyone, and I really enjoyed this manga. I will have to give it another read later on. By the way, I gotta say, the mangaka, Yuni, she is fantastic in her introduction because it just resonated within me, you know, when she said, I love Yuri stories about young women, so that's all I write. Fucking fantastic. And in that postscript, Yuni did say that she is wanting to create a little bit more stories about them, which I am very excited about, you know, even if it's just little shorts here and there. I would like to have a little update on these two, alright? I just really enjoy it. I just really enjoy their characters, alright? I don't want to see them go away forever and just be stuck in this one standalone. Give me more. So, overall, it is a manga I recommend you take a gander, and if you don't like it, I will fucking cut you! No, I won't. It's okay to have different opinions, and if you don't like the story, then that's okay. Just keep that shit away from me. Again, I'm just kidding. It's okay to not like something, and it's okay to articulate why you don't like it, as long as it's done in a rational and friendly manner. Let me know what you guys think about this manga in the comments down below, and let me know what you guys think about this video as well, because I like getting feedback. And yeah, I continue to not know how to end videos, so I guess I will just see y'all later.